Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Cheating Lefty disc review. Today we are taking a look at the Discraft Crush, and don't worry if you haven't heard of it before, that's why I'm here. So the Crush is a distance driver, speed 11, glide 5, turn -1 in a fade of 3, at least per the Discraft flight chart, and this is definitely a disc that lives up to its namesake. It definitely crushes, and particularly as a forehand disc. That's where I think that gets the most use and best use out of it is as a forehand disc. And when it comes to the profile, the Big Z is very flat, whereas the Ledgestone Swirl Z, that had a slight amount of dome to it, particularly in the very top of the flight plate. And being a speed 11, the rim is not very wide, so players with smaller hands, this could be that overstable distance driver you've been looking for. Now, when it comes to the flight, the Crush is definitely an overstable distance driver. This is a disc where if you throw it flat or on a hyzer, you are going to get very little to no turn at all if you're a medium to slower arm, and it's just going to have a really big predictable finish. Now, if you're able to put a lot of torque in the disc or you have a very fast arm, this is a great disc for those forced overflex shots, as you're going to see here when thrown on an anhyzer. You'll hold that anhyzer a good amount of the way before it stables up and hyzers out. However, just because the Crush is overstable in the later stages of its flight doesn't mean that if you throw it on an anhyzer line, it still can hold that anhyzer all the way to the ground. So if you're gonna put it on a steep anhyzer line, you have to do this. You have to give it a lot of height, allow that late flight stability time to level itself out, and then hyzer back. But I feel that is why the Crush lives up to its namesake. It can absolutely crush. If you have a fast arm or you're able to force it over onto an anhyzer line and get that nice big flex, it has great glide to it, so you're still going to be able to get really good distance even though it's not a speed 13, speed 12, even at a speed 11, because of its glide, because of how workable in the mid-flight it is, how it's going to hold that turn, hold this nice sweeping anhyzer in that mid-flight before it fights its way out of it, which is why you can let loose and really rip into the Crush, and you're gonna get rewarded with great distance despite it being an overstable driver. So I've been asked before, what else would I compare the Crush to that's in Discraft's current lineup, and I would have to say this is the medium arm speed player's force. It has that smaller rim, it has very good glide, but it also has that very predictable hyzer finish. So that way you can throw this thing on a slight hyzer or throw it flat, and it's going to ride straight, have that predictable finish, but also it's very workable, particularly with forehands. Again, where I think this disc really shines is on those forehand shots. It's definitely safe to say that the Crush is my favorite forehanding disc out there. Over the years, the Crush has come out in several different plastic types. However, for most of them, they're going to be difficult to find except for the recent runs that Ledgestone has done over the last couple of years. So if you're looking to try out the Crush, I would look for either the Z Swirl or the Big Z. Ledgestone just released them yet again, another runs this year, so they are readily available on the Ledgestone website. Now, when it comes to the Z Swirl versus the Big Z is what I feel is better for medium arms like myself, players who just don't have quite the arm to get into the high-speed drivers but want a nice big flex disc or very predictable flight. The Big Z is the best for that. Versus the Z Swirl, you can see it's still workable in the mid-flight like the Big Z, but it doesn't get nearly as much turn. It's going to want to fight its way out quite a bit sooner. It has a little bit more bite at the very end. So because of that, I feel if you are a faster arm player and you want to try out the Crush, you have to go with the Z Swirl. It has the extra torque resistance and also the late stability the big arms need. Overall, the Crush is a fantastic, dependable distance driver. It's workable in the mid-flight, even for us medium arm speed players, particularly in the Big Z plastic. If you are looking for a forehanding disc that absolutely bombs, you have to check out the Crush. You won't be disappointed. And as I mentioned earlier, Ledgestone did do a recent run of these again this year, so go to their website, get yours today. As always, thank you Discraft, Disc., and Riverside for the support this year. Until next time everyone, keep banging them chains.